All right, really good Tuesday practice from our guys. Like the energy and effort out there. Really like what our coaches are doing from how we challenge ourselves to be different in drill work, and that's showing up on the field. It's going to help us be different on Saturdays. But we can go ahead and open it up.
Is Lou Florence going to be able to take the field at all?
Yeah, probably not. Not anticipating that.
What have you seen from Jabbar this spring? Obviously, he's a major addition to the defense.
Yeah, just a guy that has experience, right, and some savvy, right. He's really good at identifying routes, out of the break with the stem of the route, and how that means what he's going to be able to play post snap whenever that's happening, and continue to make some plays for us, right. Challenge himself. He likes the challenge of going against somebody that's going to make him better, which you love that when you're talking about iron sharpens iron.
Rosters aren't public yet, but have you let the guys know so they could kind of get that competition going?
Yeah, we had practice today. We had practice on what we're doing today, Tuesday.
With Jabbar playing at the level he has and as much as he has, what do you think is the next step in his game as a corner?
Well, I think every one of us has an opportunity to continue to challenge ourselves to get better. He had some grabs in the last scrimmage where he's got to be able to control his hands a little bit better before the ball's out. Something that we talked about. But there's a lot of things that he does really well. It's about finding the things that he doesn't do well and continue to improve on them, which he's done a good job of doing.
I know you have one more practice left, but still, what are your expectations on Saturday? What do you want to see, when you go into a spring game? What's kind of the thought process and what you want to get out of it?
Yeah, creating that game day environment like we talked about. We're not going to go out there and show off everything we've done this spring from a scheme standpoint. We're going to let our guys go out there and play fast, right? See them execute and see who can play football.
What have you gotten better this spring?
A lot of things. I'd start with, consistent physicality, expectation, the standard, right, is really matching itself. Done a good job of creating some of those habits that carry over to having success, right? You got goals and aspirations, but if your habits don't match, it doesn't matter.
So many newcomers this spring. Have you seen just them mature and kind of integrate into the process now that you're kind of closing on the end of spring?
Yeah, they've done a good job. You got new faces, and the only way to figure it out is to get in there and get busy. And our guys have done a good job of getting in there and getting busy. If you have a question, ask a question.
There's been a lot of conversation about what spring games and what kind of the meaning of them is supposed to be. Dan, as Lane's turned it into almost a carnival atmosphere and no game at all, and obviously it's always pretty vanilla, but what do you want it to be by way of a showcase of football and also an evaluation point for use for the staff and for the players?
Yeah, we want to get better at football. We go practice what football looks like, do a good job of seeing who can play, right? And it's different when you play in a game day environment, so we want to create that.
Where's the growth for Jaden Lamar been over this offseason?
Yeah, Jaden understands. The first year when you come in, we ask our running back to do so much. There's so much they have to align based on the call, based on the play. So figuring out what you're doing there is the big start. Jaden's done a good job of understanding what we're doing now. It's about how you run within each scheme, for him. But he's done a good job of picking up the concepts. You don't see a lot of MAs from him. He's a guy that goes out there on the field and executes his job.
How's Luke adapted to playing college ball?
Well, I think the first year for any player is a shock, right? It's like the speed of the game's gone a lot quicker. It's not as easy to go find a matchup out there on the field that you feel like can be a winner. So it's a lot to swallow for any freshman out there, including Luke. But he's done a good job of embracing that, knowing that there's going to be adversity, in year one. And he's continued to be a guy that can make plays out there on the field for us.
We have a new look along the interior D line, as we all know, this spring. A couple of young guys, Amari Washington, Michael Gardner. What have you seen from them as they've kind of tried to take that next step this spring?
Yeah, just being sponges and the effort they play with, right? A lot of problems are solved with effort on the defensive line. And the way you can play with great effort is know your assignment. So, both those guys understand what we're doing a lot more, and that shows up, where their eyes at, where their hands get placed, post-snap, how they react to where the ball's, located. Those guys have shown that attention to detail to where they can improve and get better.
What has Coach Stein brought to the staff the past couple of years?
Yeah, I just think that he's does a great job as a coach at working with other coaches, right? A really collaborative effort. I think he has a great vision of exactly what we want it to look like and articulating that vision. He's brought some great, ideas. He's one that's always constantly studying what other things exist. He doesn't have an ego, right? I think that's really important in this profession. You got to be able to figure out where you can improve and grow. Will's done an outstanding job of doing that.
How's your golf swing?
It needs a lot of work.
Why are you playing in the charity tournament?
Well, I think that's the biggest point is this is an opportunity to be able to give back to somebody else. You look at the amount of money that's been raised through this tournament, for great causes, and to have the opportunity to be a part of a great cause and raise some money for a great cause is something we're interested in.
How impactful is this weekend? Do you want this weekend to be for recruiting for not just the 25 cycle, but 26 and 27, setting up the years ahead?
Yeah, I think, when you talk about football matters at Oregon, I think one of the things that display that is our fan support, right? And our fans being out there making this a great impact. But, recruits want to see that. How much does a game matter in the spring? Does it matter to the fans at Oregon, right? And when they see that, I think they recognize how special football is here.
You want Dylan to attack when when we get to post spring in terms of when he's working with 3D QB or anybody else? What do you want him to kind of look at over the next 3 months after spring?
Yeah, we'll probably do a post spring. I mean, not probably. We will do a post spring assessment of where the areas we can improve and what we can attack at each position to get better. So once spring wraps up, you'll get an evaluation with your coach, and we'll sit down and say, here's the things we got to get better at.
Spring's a big time to develop and implement your culture a bit more with your guys. What do you want the Oregon culture to be known for, and kind of where is it at right now, would you say?
Yeah, really just our DNA traits, right? Connection, growth, toughness, sacrifice. Those things have to show up daily for us. And it's a constant reminder, for us, it's not going to happen on accident, right? You got to take some time and put attention to it. That's why we have our Get Real programs every single week, where we're talking about other stuff besides football. It's got to be, part of your curriculum. And it certainly is for us here.
Have you identified a theme for this season? If last year was good to great, if it's going to be built to last, if it's going to be something else?
Yeah, we're still working through it, right? And players can be a part of that as well.
Your thoughts on the 2-minute drill and getting, not 2-minute drill, 2-minute warning being put into the rules?
Yeah, I think the more that our game can reflect what's going to happen at the next level, there's, that continuity is probably a good thing. But yeah, it's going to be something that we'll be prepared for and ready to execute.
With nobody in Detroit, what are your draft plans for Thursday night? Because you got Bo in Alabama and Jackson in Utah and Troy in the Bay Area. So how are you going to try and hit as many of these as possible?
Yeah, we'll see. You obviously can't be in 3 places at one time. Probably starts with who asks you, and then what you're able to make happen, because we still have practice on Thursday, still have walkthrough on Friday. So we'll be creative and see what we can accomplish.
Obviously, the draft's an important time for any program, but what do you think the draft means to the Oregon Ducks and kind of where the program's headed?
We love seeing guys reach their goals and aspirations. We just talked about that, right? And your habits have to line up with that. But you can see a lot of guys' habits for our team last year lined up for them to have that opportunity to get drafted. And I think you'll continue to see more and more players drafted here at Oregon as we continue to develop the roster and develop our players. So credit to them. They earn that opportunity to have that day that they can celebrate, and we're really excited for those guys.
All right, thanks, Coach.
Appreciate it.